From just outside and inside the perimeter of Atlanta, Georgia, where Miami did have most of the ball, but our whole team said, fuck them all.
Fuck them all.
It is the Five Takes Podcast. And we are back.
We're oddly back.
Just like we all knew we would be. We drew it up. Hey, I just want to come out right now and say we've been saying this for a long time, since June, July, and August, that this was going to happen. We called it. You're welcome.
You called it? You fucking spoke it into existence, you big weirdo. I don't know how the hell you called that shit.
Fair enough. From the last pod, I did say 3-2. This weekend. Again, I was joking. Much like in August when I said we were MLS Cup contenders, I was joking. And here we are.
We were joking about how funny it would be if we literally said, okay, so we're going to lose the first one and then we win the last two against Miami.
None of that was supposed to be. That's exactly
legitimate.
That's exactly what was going to happen after we won at the Benz. Like, it was like written in the stars, y'all. That's why you book the plane ticket. You know, I used the hotel points to be down there because obviously we knew what was going to happen. No, none of us could have predicted that.
Absolutely not. I was going to say, anybody who really said, I believe this is going to happen is fucking lying, because it's not true.
There's incredible. Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching tonight. If you're on the audio version of the pod, Jennifer is not here. Her vocal cords are trashed.
Absolute garbage.
And I think her plane just landed too from Miami. It got delayed. So Kat's here, and we have Amy joining with us again tonight.
Hi, Amy.
And this is dumbfounding. We have no business being here, but here we are, and maybe we do have business being
there.
Here
it is.
now.
I was going to say, at what point do we start believing that we have business being here?
You could say that Orlando match, 10% chance, little fluky, inexplicable own goal from Philadelphia that got Jim Curtin fired. Please don't do it, Atlanta United. I don't want that man here. There are better candidates, and Rob might have something to say about that.
Rob would be a better.
We're not hiring.
We
Jim
will
Curtin.
see. He is forcefully pushing himself into the conversation. But my goodness, we are actual MLS Cup contenders.
There it is
now, and that's a complicated thing to reckon with for us, for Miami fans, and for the league. If I'm a Miami fan right now, and they're not all bad, you know, they've got a good thing going there. I think they'll be okay. But I would have serious questions, because they were in absolute win now mode, built for that. They've been trash, and all of a sudden they got the world's best players, started winning trophies and games and setting point records. And you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Messi started and played 18 or 19 games for 90 minutes, only lost 3 times to us. We are their bogey team. I do not know why we match up so well against them. But this is no longer a fluke. You could say Orlando was a bit fluky, but then we handled business in Montreal on the road, and then we didn't get smashed when we went to Miami. We found a goal. It was Saba time. Goose stood on his head, and then we come back home, take care of business, and then we go back to their home and take care of business again. This isn't a fluke.
No, and it's not a fluke. It's not just a fluke. Okay, it's not that. It's not just a fluke for us. There it is. Yeah. Because Cincinnati also went down. Columbus is out.
The East is drunk.
Who else? The other one that was not. Who else lost?
Minnesota.
No, not Minnesota. In the East.
RSL, but that's the West Coast. On the
that's who's been knocked
East
out.
Coast.
No, who?
Red Bulls.
Red Bulls
knocked out Columbus.
Red Bulls knocked out Columbus.
NYCFC knocked out
NYC.
Cincy.
Yeah. So it's not.
Then,
we are the conference, because the West is still kind of doing their thing. Yes, Minnesota beat RSL, but that was a 6 and a 3 team, not a 9
right.
seed.
And Galaxy did what they should do.
Galaxy did what they were supposed to do. Exactly.
LAFC handled it.
Didn't have a whole lot of lot of hope, you know, in the same sense.
I get it's more chalk. Well, I just think anecdotally it speaks to the unpredictability of the format.
Well, it does,
right?
And I'm getting
it should lean itself towards the home teams, but you play the games because it's not necessarily always going to be the case. And yeah, Glenn, you're right. We're their bogey team in the way that every time we had to play mirror match Columbus, they had our number. Sometimes you just have those situations. And I think Rob Valentino has Tata's number, which is like a weird,
which kind of makes sense
to say.
He was there.
So what I was getting at, though, with that whole thing was that the East Conference, the Eastern Conference playoffs in particular, has become the playoffs of the why not us team. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's anybody's game now. Not? It's anybody's game.
Yeah, because it's knockout from here on.
No longer. Yeah, and well, not only that, but it's like we did our thing when we had no business doing that.
Right.
So at this point, we can beat Montreal. We can beat
with Joseph.
We can beat, we can beat Orlando. We can beat Miami. We've shown
we already did beat Orlando.
Exactly.
We just
We've
have
already done it.
Do it again.
So why not us? Glenn said this in fucking June, and we were like, ha 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 ha. We could, dude. It's not just silly fantasy island time.
No, not anymore.
It's
the only thing
anymore.
The only thing is that we do have to. But we have to still keep the same mentality of one at a time and not to get too ahead of ourselves. You don't talk about Bruno, right?
I completely agree.
But
it has changed now that Miami's not in it anymore. It's a different ball game, so to speak, now because we've just and Cincinnati's not there, and New York, it's just the top teams have faltered in this playoff. So
Every friend I have in LA and Seattle are like messaging me to thank us for our service. Honestly, I think every actual fan of everybody who's not invested in a particular team has been messaging and thanking us.
Because apart from us, Miami had everybody else's number, right? So if we don't stop them, who was going to?
And no, absolutely. And listen, it is hard for those fans, anecdotally. So I was down in Miami, and a former coworker of mine lives in Miami, and we were having lunch before the game. And she was telling me how her 7-year-old son is like obsessed with soccer now. And, his dad's Italian and his mom's Colombian. So you can imagine
because of Miami, because of Messi, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, no. He was a big soccer fan before, but he's 7, right? So, but Messi is the thing. Okay. He's 7.
It's very easy to like Messi.
His face is plastered everywhere. Yeah, I get it.
That's what I'm saying. It's very easy to like Messi if you're 7 years old and you live in Miami.
Right. So she and I are talking, and I'm saying, okay, good luck tonight, to both our teams, etc. And then, of course, like while the game's going on, she's messaging me, and she told me after the game, she said, my son, he's devastated. He's so upset because he's 7, and he's like. He doesn't understand how it's possible. Like, how could all of these stars, And literally, this is the text exchange we're having, right? Like, he's telling me, he's like, how could but we have Messi, we have, Jordy, we have these, like, how could this be this other team? And so, I'm a horrible person, y'all. So what I plan to do is I am going to buy this kid a youth size Atlanta United jersey with the Atlanta 17 on the back.
Oh no.
And I'm going to be like, I'm really sorry that your team lost, but remember, the team is more than its stars, right?
That's right.
And that's why I'm giving you the number 17, which is the number of the team, because it's the team. And then the guys on the team.
Players come and go.
And that's why we won.
And that's why earlier, and I'm sorry, like, you were like, oh, yeah, Miami, they got something going there when I went. Because I have been saying for 18 months that I don't like this. I don't like the Messi novelty. Okay? And now they're just stacking. This is, you want to see what $100 million in $100 million US dollars can buy you? It bought you an early exit out of the MLS playoffs. I took that out of a Chelsea book. Thank you very much. You want to see what it buys you? Goodbye.
But I did mention the customization station and made fun of that, right?
Yeah.
And so this time I was more intentional with my looking to see what kits. And I actually made a list.
And what did you see?
Of every kit that I saw that was not a Messi kit. Okay.
Right,
every single one of them.
What'd you got?
And I messaged them all to like Jen and Cheryl.
Okay, what do you got?
So there was one. Okay, these were the non-Miami alternatives. Okay, there was a Maradona.
Okay,
sure.
There was a Maradona.
Respect. Sure.
There was a Piatti. I thought that was pretty random, out of nowhere.
That's an old soccer fan right there. That's somebody who's been watching since they were young.
I love yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
And it was Diego Maradona and
Piatti.
and Piatti.
Yeah.
I will give one shout out to the lone OG Miami fan that I saw who was actually wearing a Gonzalo Higuain jersey. That Gonzalo had signed, so he had been there since before Messi.
Sure.
He was there last year. It was only him.
Higuain, no, when they had the brothers Higuain there, that's what I thought was going to be there. And then Campana Campana.
There were some attitude issues there.
Higuain played well for them,
but I thought that was going to be kind of like their setup, which was not a bad one.
He had his last game at a rainy Yankee Stadium, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
So we had, here it is. Okay, so here's the actual list. One Di Maria, one Maradona, one Piatti.
Okay.
One kid with his last name. one supporter with some kind of very clear inside joke thing that
like ours.
Really
sure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One chick with the number 16, but I couldn't see the name of the player. I'll give her credit and say maybe it was a Robert Taylor, but I don't feel like that's what it was. I think it was like she's 16 and wanted a 16 on her jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so it didn't say
there was
Taylor,
only one of those.
It just said 16.
It just said 16.
Okay.
2 total Suarez kits.
Okay.
1 number 30, 1 actual Robert Taylor, and 1 Gutierrez. Now, I think I looked at 10,000 kits.
Yeah, you probably
and
did.
I'm not exaggerating. I walked from 127 where they bury us.
Yeah.
Well, first I walked into the stadium all the way around.
Yeah.
And then you can't go through because there's like a loading dock. So you can only go one way. It's not a circle, it's a horseshoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
So I walked that entire concourse at least twice.
Yeah.
And after last time, and my joke about the customization station, I wanted to be fair and actually look this time.
Yeah.
And I looked thoroughly. And every single other person that was not in an Atlanta United kit was in a number 10 Messi, whether it was Argentina or pink Barbie or blue Royal Caribbean. It was all number 10 Messi. And I don't know. There's just something about that's very Borg and kind of bothersome.
What an analogy. I love that.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. And I don't want to get infected by MLS 1.0. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Look, I don't want to throw too much shade at them. It's not.
Why?
It's not because I want the league to grow. Because I do. I don't want to see Miami fail.
I
don't want to see Messi go away and Miami not have a good thing going. I don't. It's not good for the league.
No, I don't disagree with that. I just
they will
don't
struggle.
Like the novelty. I just want it. He's playing.
What do you?
Last year. No. Last year he barely played. Okay,
he played a lot.
Well,
he won them a trophy.
It was like. Yeah, but it was like.
Well, he had international duty.
He came in later in the season.
Right.
There were international
breaks. He won a trophy.
And he didn't travel to Atlanta. He was like, he would just take games off. This year, he's played. It's been legitimate. It has been a full season. Yeah. Messi has played. He's
done everything he could.
Yeah, he has highly influenced every match that he has been in. Yeah. So I get that. And that's great. It's been more.
And he had a really good. He had a good game last night. Just not a Messi's spectacular game. He had a good game. If you
He had a
watch
goal, he
the
had a
highlights
header,
and even the
Messi doesn't
replays,
do
like
that.
he had a goal.
Yeah.
He got that he got that monkey off his back because he hasn't been able to score.
Yeah. Against us.
And he had nice post-game
that
remarks.
ball that he crosses to Jordi Alba in the 51st minute that Brad Guzan paws off the line, that is a beautiful pinpoint cross from Messi. Right. I mean, like
they play the three of them and look, Suarez is a former Red and fine. He's an absolute fucking prick. Okay. I have absolutely zero.
He's a villain.
Zero respect for Suarez. I respect his skill, but as a person, he's a fucking prick. Okay. Jordi Alba at least has a little bit more integrity for the game, but the three of them are an absolute showcase of unbelievably excellent football. It really, really is. Each one of them brings a very impressive set of skills. You can't deny that, and I don't either. I would never say that that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't.
And
they had an excellent season, and congratulations, you got your shield,
and they will
got
struggle.
your invitation to FIFA World Cup, and now
they will struggle.
Chaos.
They will, but Miami will struggle once Messi is gone.
I like to see that that they're a real team, that they are vulnerable, that they can't just come in and fucking bum rush the league. And
they did through the regular season.
And we're at the helm of the good ship chaos right now.
They went up
against
the
captain's seat.
They faced the wrong team. They faced us. If it had been someone else, they probably would have got through.
I agree. For some reason, but that's when it doesn't matter though, because when it comes down to it, if you can't win when it matters.
Yeah. Well, they have defensive liabilities, and they can't defend in transition. They're going to have to fix that next year.
Just stop.
Well, they can't.
I know that.
It's not excuses. I'm saying that's why they lost, because they can't defend in transition. They have an amazing attack.
And that's
absolutely
what I'm saying.
True.
If you can't win
and
when it matters,
they didn't have Busquets healthy and able to play the entire time.
Right.
So they had to play a different.
Busquets keeps them.
Yes.
I think Busquets was actually a huge loss because it changed the formation in the back. Mm-hmm. And they talked about the space, right? The TRA is able to get
twice. That goal was almost identical both times.
And I have to say, Glenn, I'm sorry, we've just had this kind back and forth on Alexi. I thought he was very key.
Yeah.
I mean, undeniably key, right? And the it's not just the slip pass to TRA.
That's right.
The first opportunity that we had in the 15th minute that just misses by a whiff, that's Alexi that picks out the pass that goes to Amador that comes across to TRA. And I think that it was interesting seeing him up there with TRA with Saba on the wing and the interplay between Schleich and Alexi.
He is another person who has had a very good postseason. Our judgment, most of our judgment, I don't know about Glenn's in particular, but I would say, at least with mine, most of our judgment has been of his regular season play. And again, that was such a small sample size that it was difficult to make a whole something obvious.
Well, you're starting to see things click now. It's same thing with Barto, who is now being the player we have needed him to be. Everybody is kind of coming together.
So we can't take anything away from anybody.
No.
But I found myself, because of Saturday's match, because when we were at the match, it's always difficult because we're watching it with the depth.
Last Saturday, the home match.
Last Saturday, we're watching it because we're in the supporters for. We're watching it in a depth wise, and we didn't think that Alexi had done enough. And then we went back. I know I think all three of us individually went back and rewatched it from a side to side vantage point, and we could really see Alexi making the runs and making the movement.
He was much better than
it was much easier to observe him.
Because he is that type of player.
Point. Yeah. Right. And so seeing it again last night, I saw an extreme continuation of last Saturday's match at home to last night's. He was even better than before. So
You're right. And because I wasn't at the match, though I did manage to get through a full do not disturb, I had no idea what had happened, and I got to ride the full roller coaster of that experience, to the point where my son was nice enough that he said that he would go get it set up and turned on just in case the Apple TV hadn't like suppressed the score or whatever. And then he fast forwarded it to the kickoff, and I was like, "You're the best." And he went to bed.
That's a good kid.
And
raised him
right.
Yeah, that's
so
a good
great.
kid right there.
So
he understood the assignment.
Right, exactly. And so I rode the roller coaster of emotions, but I did have the benefit of watching it at home, which is very different than watching it in the stands, to the point where last night in Miami, God, was that just last night?
Yeah. It was.
It's been a long day. I got to tell you, like I said, I didn't play the games, but I've flown the flights, and respect to our players. Okay. Like
you get the travel.
It's a lot.
Well, let's talk about the whole match as an entirety.
Sorry.
With number one overall, and you have to be when you play Miami, because Miami is the type of team that if you let them can and will bury you. And I think that's something Miami actually struggles with. They expect their goals to come in bunches via just intricate one-touch passing and a little bit of magic, because they have 4 magicians. We were very disciplined. We frustrated Miami, and we didn't.
For 4 games.
We clogged up the middle again,
games.
And we didn't allow them
games.
to operate in that way. We stayed compact. We stayed organized. Defense deserves a ton of credit in that regard. I think that's why somebody like a Busquets missing for Miami.
Yeah.
Like a clear example for us is like when we're missing like a Stien or a Derek Williams.
Yeah.
Boy, do we suffer. Those players are monumentally important. And I think, it's not the only reason Miami lost. I think we do just match up well with them. I do think Rob, who again, we'll talk about him a little bit later, forced his way into the conversation. Some people feel like maybe still not the way to go. That's fine. I think I'm just saying that there's an argument now. There has to be. He's got Tata's number as well.
You're not making any decisions until after the Orlando
and that's
game.
Fair. But he's got Tata's
Unless
number.
he's already your guy. If he's already your sole guy, maybe you make a decision. But otherwise, I think what he's done is, elbowed his way into the conversation, and now you're just riding it as far as it goes. And the longer the ride goes, the harder the conversation is as to why you don't keep the guy that got you there, and why don't you stay with the girl that brought you to the dance.
Well, it's interesting though, because I'm going to play devil's advocate for this only for a moment, because you said something to me before we started recording about making decisions, about when to make decisions. Okay, and I think the same can be said for riding a wave that's going up. Okay.
Yes.
Because we let Pineda go in June, and there was a very big couple of months that things were just not fucking good. Yeah. So the fact that we've had a string of excellent playoff runs, I don't think that is the only and sole reason, even if we win the cup.
Fair.
Okay. Because anything's fucking possible now. Even if we do win, as much as, I would hate to say, hey, thanks, Rob. Bye. Because that would be so cruel. I mean, offer him the assistant coaching position or something, for fuck's sake. Go to bat for him to try and get the Philadelphia job. Go ahead.
You know what?
Why not?
He might not be a bad fit in Philadelphia. Here's another coach that's getting playing greater than the sum of their parts. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting shout.
But I don't think that, just because the team is doing well in the postseason, that necessarily warrants an offer letter.
Pierce.
But I'm not saying that it doesn't either. I'm just saying let's not make rash decisions because we go out and we win a couple games.
And Pierce on Twitter.
Another part of it.
Pierce on Twitter totally agrees with you that, look, it's 4 games. Pump the brakes just a little bit. Hey, this is great. But don't make a decision based on that. And he also brings up the point of, look, Philadelphia doesn't score that fluke own goal, we're not here.
That's true.
So, like,
Yeah, that
it's
has nothing to
great,
do with Rob.
but does it then warrant, like, can you translate this brief, concentrated amount of success to an entire season?
Evidently not.
Then you could make the you could make the argument then does the regular season even matter anymore? I don't know. That's an entirely different conversation. But,
right.
You're right. June, July, August, most of September was tough. There are reasons for that. I mean, tough position for him to come into, losing key players, lots of injuries, and trying to get away from
and a negative
Pineda ball.
mentality, which takes time.
And that
to
takes
reverse.
time to get out. And Pineda ball, it's different.
Yeah.
Rob has us playing a little bit different, better in my opinion. And I think that's into it's one of the takes, I think. Or maybe it was just a passing comment of us just not having the ball and doing better with it. But, Rob, to his credit, elbowing his way in, and no matter what happens, if he stays, if he goes, he's head coach, assistant coach, he's going to have a great career. Wherever he goes, whatever happens, this is a hell of a thing to add to your CV. It truly is, and I'm so happy for him, and I'm sure the club will do right by him, whatever that looks like. Like, we're not just going to kick this man out the door.
No,
No.
Yeah.
I'm just strongly advocating that, like, we owe him the benefit of not making decisions until this has been finished.
100%. The worst thing you could do right now is even talk about that.
Because you've got a locker room that's bought in.
100%.
And, however you got there, whether it's that they decided to finally go fight for Goose, for Dax, for Rob, for all of the above, for us, for whatever you want to, call it. I find myself excited and joyful about this team. And, I have to say that as amazing as the other games that I got to go to were, and unique experiences, things that, will live with me, I feel like yesterday was kind of like the movie Inside Out, and the joy that I experienced created like a core memory.
Nice.
Right? Of like my little friendship island and us, like, Jen and I, clacking and yelling at people. Seriously, I clacked to the point, y'all, where I've ripped open my knuckle. Like,
I had that thing. I had that thing when we went to the Unified Day signing day, and I was clacking with Jen. My wrist and forearm were killing me, and I did that for an hour. I can't imagine for how long. And I don't know if it was an hour.
We were clacking all day.
That's what I'm saying.
We were clacking all day.
That's a muscle group that I was not prepared to use
because we don't have drums, right? We don't have drums, so the beat is the fans, like literally. And I think like around aggressive. Around like the 12th minute, I think there were pockets when I was rewatching the game where I could hear us in the stands.
You can,
especially doing the AUFC, you hear the clap or whatever.
And after all three goals,
it's like the fans.
and after all three goals, there is absolute definite Atlanta United cheering going on, and it's and I think it was the Montreal match. I was like, I couldn't hear you guys at all.
Well, there was like 7 people there.
Because there were so few of us. This time there were.
I know there were so many. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could easily tell, and that's why the camera kept going up. Like, you guys were up there a lot. The camera kept going up, and it was well done. It was well done. You guys did.
Everybody was.
You guys did
in it. Hey. Credit to everybody that traveled down. You know who you are. Like, you brought it. Like, all of you. It was.
Everybody's
just
bought
as
in.
Emotionally exhausting, right? Yeah. But everybody was bought in.
Hey, you mentioned fighting and fighting for Goose or maybe Dax. I want to talk about Dax for a minute.
Yeah.
At least from my perspective, he sent Messi home to look up what a Dax McCarty is on Wikipedia. Because this man has had him in his pocket. It's actually when he came off the field that Messi started having a little bit more joy. That's not 100% on Jay and just not marking him. Just the way that different players, slightly different shape, and Messi had more joy. Dax, oh my God. I mean,
talk about somebody understanding the assignment.
Yeah.
Dax
I think
has been
some of that though wasn't just Jay.
clutch.
I think
no, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't entirely on Jay. It's just the way the shape changed a little bit.
Gregerson was the one who turned off for the header for Messi's goal. So he just didn't mark him.
Well, I'm talking about just an open play. Messi had more space to operate in. He was feeling a little bit more, but that's not. I'm not blaming Jay and saying, "Hey."
No, it was just.
No, what I'm saying is
Dax's job was stay on Messi, and then when Dax came off, Jay and Gregerson didn't have the same job. They're just pushed up
a little higher. Than what Dax
was. To me,
was.
That change was a mentality shift, right? Though it was a signal. It was a signal that we're not going to go. We're going for it, right? Yeah. In that moment,
yeah.
And so, in doing that, you're conceding. I think that Messi's going to get more of what Messi needs.
And I think we knew that. 100%.
And you're hoping that your back line, which has been the strength of the team all season, can hold. And I didn't see this in the take, so I'm just going to go here. We called on every single one of our back line except Efren Morales, but like Cobb, Abram, Hernandez, Gregerson, Williams, right? All of them. And every single one of them at one point or another came up huge. Cobb, 5 minutes, still goal line save. Goose finds himself 100%. On an island. Cobb comes up huge. Abram early on had a couple of those types of plays. Hernandez all game.
A couple of slide in tackles that were great.
And then, I mean, and of course, Derek Williams, I mean, when he came out, I was, concerned, but I wasn't really I feel like everybody still felt very comfortable. I was nervous when Williams had to come out. It wasn't like I felt great about it, but I told myself, this is the back line that has, I know that it's this weird thing, but we've been good defensively, right? It's been the offense that has been the problem. So the back line's been the strength of the team. So I felt like all these guys can get it done, but to see each of them individually contribute down to, Stien coming in like that crazy header where he just throws his whole, Viking body out there and just at the very, very end when we're just, trying to make sure they don't score. It was very impressive.
Offensively, too, though. I mean, look, 10 different players have scored.
Yeah.
This is whole team. Yeah. This is the whole damn team, including the bench.
Amador had an assist in every game we've won in this postseason.
He's been a revelation. The dude
absolutely. That's the way that's actually the way to put it. Is a revelation.
Pinpoint.
You know who
But I have to say though, as pinpoint as he has been, and it was gorgeous. Who saw Air Bartosz coming?
That's true.
Dude, he got up there and he got in that like he was the second coming of
rises up like a salmon.
And he's just and it's so spot on. He just does this every game. And then they're like, this is his second ever goal. And you're like, what?
That should be spot on because I'm going to jump to number 5. That is the ultimate FEA goal. Right? This team, and I talked about this, I was on the FanTV channel last night with Mike and AJ. This team has needed a little bit of that. We're too nice.
Yeah.
Play to the... and somebody from a little...
We have avoided dark arts.
That's right. But it's not dark arts.
We usually hold ourselves above it.
This is not dark arts.
But it's strategy.
This is not...
It's not dark.
No, it's not.
Strategy.
It's not strategy.
It's intelligence.
It's not any of those things. It's playing soccer. That's all it is. I had somebody from Miami come on our Twitter feed last night, little sour grapes, I understand, saying, how is that a goal? Robbery. So I replied, because I put...
off.
No. I replied.
Oh, no, yes.
I replied. I put my snarky hat on.
I don't do that.
And I said, well, how's it a goal? Well, in soccer, when the whistle doesn't go and the ball hits the back of the net, generally speaking, listen, I was when that moment hit.
Fuck off.
And I
find answering Google to be a great strategy for dealing with dumbasses.
When that moment,
so that's
when that was
great,
happening in real time, and I saw Pedro take that very brief glance to the ref.
Yeah.
And you can ask. I was watching it with Lily in the 5-stripe room.
As he's setting up the ball,
and I turned to her and I
said,
said, "God, I hope he doesn't play this out. There's no head injury," and he didn't. I feel like maybe previous versions of this team might have. No, you know what?
Maybe
it's a goal. Get stuck in. Get in somebody's face.
Yeah.
Like get a little nasty. You're right.
Yeah.
I loved it. And we owed them nothing. You just shoved our keeper into his net.
Yeah.
And you want us to play it out? Let's rewind this back
right off.
To earlier in the season when I forget who Miami was playing, but there was a player down right on the 18 and Messi does this deft, delicate little chip right over him and over the player, literally over the player and scores.
Yeah.
And it counts and it should.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to tell me now that we should have played this out and Tata, I love you, respect you, thank you. You wouldn't have. I know he said in his post-game comments, we would have played that out. No, you wouldn't have.
Bullshit.
And you shouldn't have. You shouldn't. But this team might have in the past. We didn't.
Yeah.
The ultimate FEA match goal to go along with a bit of an FEA week. You know? It just felt right, and I'm happy to see us
that you're talking about
way.
A team that got screwed repeatedly earlier in the season for not playing to the whistle over and over and over again. And while it may have fallen on deaf ears from Pineda, at a certain point, your own self-preservation has to kick in or something to be like, wow,
we're playing.
I'm being really stupid here. I should play to the whistle, period. That's
playing
soccer,
with
like you're saying, Glenn.
Yeah.
Right? That's soccer.
We're playing,
and now we're there.
Now like there's no tomorrow because there isn't. And I do think that it, at least in the 3 matches against Miami, there is that sense of let's just fucking go. Anything we've got, throw it all on the line because there might not be a tomorrow. And there hasn't been. And yet there still is. And I think that is the mentality shift. I've been looking for it, Glenn. I've been wondering what it was. What changed since the Orlando match? And I think it was literally like, hey, you know what? This could be the last game of the season. So let's put it all on the line. Everything we've got. You want to save it? We're saving people for something. It's for now. So put it out there and just do it. And I was talking to, I think I may have mentioned this on one of the previous Miami pods, was that there's a gentleman that I work with. I know. There's a gentleman that I work with that is from Argentina. Uh-huh. His name is Tito, and he is obviously a big Miami fan, but he's really more of a big Argentina fan. He's a Messi fan of old. You know, he's my age.
Yeah,
you
know, he understands.
Followed him for a long time.
He became a Miami fan. He's also from Miami, but he's my Argentina by way of Miami.
Sure.
So this guy, obviously, he walks up to me this morning. And sorry. So he was in the studio and I walked out like a boxer. I put my hood on, and I'm of my hoodie and I just kind of walked out and he goes, "Hey, Kat." And I said, well. And he goes, "Yeah, I know it was pretty bad." And then I just went, well. And I wasn't, that's it. I stopped, but it was just fun. And I said, "Dude, what happened on that last goal?" And he goes, "That was absolutely 100% unacceptable." He said, "I have never seen any kind of bullshit like that before from professionals. That is absolutely unacceptable. That can't happen. It doesn't matter if it's MLS or Champions League or Premier League or La Liga or whatever you are watching. That is 100% on the players. And we had absolutely no business playing that ball out. There was no reason for us to do that. It's not a head injury. If anything, he probably might not have even been hurt. It could have just been dark arts and just to deter the attack. There's no foul. He goes down completely off the ball. referee had
I don't know. When you see Amador eyeing the ref, you also see at the shot that's further out. Schlitz actually, I've watched it 3 or 4 times and I'm still trying to decide, but I feel like they both had the same idea at the same time, but also it looked like Schlitz, who never does this, is all of a sudden like, well, shit, nobody's playing. Even I can get up in here.
That's right.
Like, let's go, right?
It is.
And I was like, sure.
Let's just go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And here's the thing, is that it stunned everybody
but
to where I'm starting to scream, okay? And half of this supporter section, because we're on the other side of the field, okay? So in fairness, like if you don't have very good eyesight, and you're further back, it's hard to tell.
You're waiting for it to get called off.
But we're like, wait, did that actually count? And I looked and I said, the team's celebrating, and we're like, well, no. And then when it finally hit, it was like, holy shit.
Listen, same. When we're watching it, when I'm upstairs, when I'm watching it on my big TV and I'm watching it, I'm going, I'm looking for the ref. You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for the line judge. I'm looking for that shot where they're gonna snap to the line judge and he's got his line because there was something offside, or there's some, he's indicating that there was a foul somewhere, or I'm looking at the ref that he's gonna go to VAR and say, oh no, there was a foul, that that ball doesn't, and there was nothing.
Nope.
And you're just waiting. You're waiting for the other fucking shoe to drop, and there was nothing. But I think even maybe a couple of our players, other than Bartos and maybe Amador, that didn't go over to the corner immediately, but we're going.
Yeah, I think some of our players were sort of like,
legit.
What happened?
Yeah,
that's the mentality shift.
I think Miami just expected a fucking red carpet to be laid out for them, and it's like, God, unless you guys walk down it.
Yep. No, it's a shift in our approach. That's a big thing that's changed. Another thing that Jeff Steimer on Footy Mob thinks that's changed is our off the ball movement. Changed a lot in post. Better runs off the ball.
I agree with that.
And a willingness to work when we don't have the ball at our feet.
Yeah.
And now that we're doing that, coupled with this just gritty, insert adjective here.
It's a very devil may care attitude. It's the fuck 'em all attitude. And it's really bizarre how it's working.
Yeah.
But it's working.
Can I tell you though, you asked where is it coming from, right? And this is me going on a deep dive, but indulge me for 1 second.
Please.
Connecting two dots.
Is it the man on your shirt?
Well, yeah, because listen.
If you're not watching this, Amy's got the Rob Valentino FEA red shirt. It's beautiful, and the team should be selling that as well.
Yeah, this is Cheryl's brainchild.
I love it.
So I know. Anyway, what I said I think before is I thought it was personnel, right? And here's the other piece that I heard again, and I feel like I'm hearing. Somebody asked Rob, what's different about your job, or some kind of question like that. And he said, well, the players look at you different when you're the one that's deciding the roster, right?
Sure.
And I told you that there was a personnel shift. Suddenly Muyumba and Zonde, maybe he's more injury we found out or whatever, who knows. But the two that we were having that struggle with, right, are out. Some other guys are in. Mm-hmm. We have that heart starting to happen. And then who actually has been showing up? The guys who suddenly realize this is the guy that might be making roster decisions.
Interesting.
Let me buy in. Everybody else has bought in. And look, I'm not saying that is what it is. Maybe I'm being harsh. If God forbid any of them ever listen to this, I'd probably be embarrassed and sad because I really I love every member of the team, right? But trying to be an objective critic, if that's what I feel like I was seeing was a little bit of a lack of buy-in at times, the way that maybe some other guys had. Yeah. But now it seems like everybody's on the FEA train.
Yeah, fully, including fans.
And I wasn't.
And that's to Rob's credit.
I haven't been, even for a while because I didn't particularly care for its origin. And
I get it.
Yeah.
for obvious,
But it's working.
But look, we've kind of taken it and made it our own now. So if it was just one
it's reclaiming.
game,
we love
reclaiming
reclamation, Kat. We're reclaiming
I'm fine with that. If it was just one game, I'd be like,
yeah, but it's not.
Now I'm like,
it.
literally while we're talking, I'm like researching, trying to find the Atlanta United FEA shirt.
It could have been god awful, right?
Incoming
We gon'
FEA
shine.
tattoos.
We gon' shine, which is on this flag back here, right?
I hated.
Yeah. That is the absolute worst
fucking
slogan ever. But I have to have it because that's the one that won, right? That's the girl that brought me. So we gon' shine, right?
No,
that was
I thought that
was the motto of the year.
That was 18.
What?
That was the motto 18. Of the year that we won the cup.
I thought that was actually 19.
No, that is 18.
Yeah. I believe you.
Because if it wasn't 18, it wouldn't still be there. I hate it.
Because it's terrible.
I hate it. I think it's terrible, right? Terrible. So like FEA, it's great because it worked. And that's okay to admit that a lot of these things are great or not because they work or they don't.
Sure.
Emma Hayes' crazy stuff that you hear about her doing.
Yes.
Could also be like, holy shit, she had them learn about geese? Like, what was she thinking, But because it worked, it's like, she's a genius. Why haven't we talked more about geese?
Absolutely.
They're fascinating.
Talk about geese,
I can't wait to see what Rob introduces next. Perhaps a visit to the aquarium, and we can learn about whale sharks. Let's talk. It's all been sweetness and light, but there is still one thing that stood out to me last night. Unfortunately, we didn't get punished for it, but we still do have this tendency, and this is number 2, where after big moments, chant a goal, stoppage in play, these little switch off moments, and it's like Miami knew this, Tata knew this, and we didn't get punished for it, but it's something we still got to be like really cognizant of. Like, just the reply was great after we got scored on, but we still and I know another goal in 2 minutes. That's a bit crazy. That doesn't happen a lot with us.
No, but you're not wrong.
But it's like anytime they had a really good counterattacking opportunity, it came off those moments like switch on immediately. Like that moment is over, the next is happening, guys. So just
it's
absolutely because sequentially you had the really big early chance around the 14th or 15th from TRA, the first play in from Alexi, right, that goes off the post. It's like a minute and a half later, maybe 2 at most, that Miami scores. Right? Then we do our I'm Rocky Balboa thing and go back down there, 2 minutes later, punch them in the mouth, and then do it again. But then immediately after that, right, we could have been right at 2-2, but for a foot and a half of distance because he timed his run wrong.
You're exactly
right.
You're exactly right. That it very well could have been 2-2.
And that has been a hallmark of this season in the good
two
moments and
hallmark examples of exactly what you're talking about.
Like, and let's address a very real thing that did occur. Guzan had how many saves over 3 games?
He leads the league.
Over 3 games, I couldn't tell you. I know he got 7 officially credited.
He leads
last
the league
night.
in postseason.
So 7 last night, at least. Well, it has to be at least that many against them
because there were 9. There were 11 shots on target, and they scored 2. Right, so that leaves 9. And my understanding is 7 of them were recorded as saves, and that makes sense because you had Noah Cobb had a block, and then there was probably one other that.
That's insane. And then it's got to be somewhere near that for the game at home. And it's got to be somewhere near that. I mean, they still got 2 past him.
And it's not just quantity, it's quality.
No, it is.
Like, some of those saves are absolutely
world
class.
Tortured Sabatime fan says Goose should be man of the match.
The man has used every single part of his body to block
Guzan
a shot.
Man of the match.
I saw him, buck chest a ball last night. Kick save, hands, fingertips. It doesn't matter.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not like so I will say the game at home I think that we were able to contain the 4, or because Busquets didn't play for the 3. Yeah. We were able to contain them fairly well. They didn't look nearly as threatening in our home game as they did in their 2 home games.
Which is to be expected.
Sure.
Home field advantage, absolutely. Yeah, with any team.
But I don't care. You have Lionel Messi on your team.
I get it. I do get it.
Okay. You have Suarez. You have Jordi Alba.
Yep.
He should be scoring 4 goals minimum every single time.
That is the
If MLS is as much of a fucking joke as the rest of the world thinks that we are, they should be putting 4 goals past every single team in this league per game minimum.
Well, to their credit, in the regular season, they kind of did.
So back to my
everybody but us.
Yeah, to everybody but us.
Back to my original point. So back to my original point. We do need to do better on defense, especially if we're going to continue in this tournament and into next season. Because
in those moments of like
Goose, what I'm trying to say is Goose has had the playoff season of his fucking life.
Yeah.
Without Guzan, any other keeper,
it
feels
McCarty.
Like yes, agreed, totally agreed.
But Goose,
without Goose, though,
without
these,
it's true.
We're looking at across 3 games. We're looking at double digit. You're looking at 20 plus, probably 20 plus saves. Okay, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but 20 plus saves over the 3 games. These games are all losses for us. Okay, without Goose, we are gone.
Build the
wall.
That
needs to be
regardless
understood.
Of quantity, the quality of the saves, because you look at, just for example,
unfortunate way of putting it, but
only because I've watched this game.
It really kind of
but
is
the quality of
Both.
it too.
Both.
Because the XG for Miami last night was like a 4, and they only got 2.
I know.
Right? And that that delta, that is Brad motherfucking Wall Guzan.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It needs to be.
He is the player of the season, I think, for me.
For me, no, I have no argument.
Look, in soccer, it's a whole team approach. Sure, every player matters, but there are 2 people out there that kind of affect things the most. Keeper, striker. Keep the ball out, put the ball in. And, when an outfield player makes a mistake.
Your captain.
But, when an outfield player makes a mistake, usually you can chalk that up to a stat and move on. When a goalkeeper makes a mistake,
it sometimes leads to a goal.
It can be lethal. Yeah. And Brad just really hasn't put too many gloves wrong. He has made, you're supposed to make 1 or 2 saves you shouldn't, and every save you should, and he's exceeded that metric every game.
And that's the funny thing, too. He hasn't been perfect. He hasn't been perfect. He's had a couple of gaffes that have led to goals.
And then he makes up for it immediately.
And that's what I'm saying.
That is
for the 2.
That's what I thought was so special about the home game, right? That is what I thought was so special about the home game, is that Brad Guzan hasn't really put a foot or a glove wrong for the most part all season. Very rarely. Yeah. And in that moment, arguably this is a mistake, whether I think that he's trying not to kick the guy and do the sportsmanly thing, or you think he tripped over his own feet, or whatever you want to think about it, right? It's a mistake. Most people agree it's a mistake. And I'm sitting there yelling at the television, like, this is not how this guy can go out, right? Yeah. Like, surely this is not. And so to see the team go and dig in and say, no, this is not how this ends, right? And to have Goose's back, I think just like, I don't know, like whatever had been drained out of Goose in that moment of that just unbelievable, like, I think, frustration, but also disbelief that that they didn't call it, right?
Yeah.
Just disbelief. He gets picked back up by the team who he's been carrying, right? And that's really special. And
he has the audacity to come out and make 5 or 6 more saves.
Yeah, he didn't get rattled either. Kept his composure. Did not fold.
The guy is an absolute fucking pro.
He laughed in Luis Suarez's face.
No, he did.
Iconic. Hang it in the Louvre, as the kids say.
But the thing is, the guy is a fucking pro.
Yep.
He is a
Pro's
he
pro.
is a student. Yes, he is a student of the game. He loves the game of football.
Yep.
And he has had an unbelievable career.
Yep. And we're sending him out better.
And we are sending
no matter
him
what
out
happens.
We are.
We have
and
this.
You know
we
what?
have created
yeah.
new core memories.
That's right.
With this
if
man.
For him, for sure.
Yes.
And if I have to take anything away from this playoffs, because if we do go out in the very next game, fine. But for us, we have given Guzan his Cinderella season that I think he really, truly deserves, or he's given it to himself. He's given it to himself.
At times he really has. He's willed it.
I don't understand anyone who doesn't see that this is the best season for him that he has had the entire time he's been with us.
The apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect that he's gotten kind of over the years.
It truly, he has never made this many saves per match.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Over the course of the season. He's never done that with us. In the 7 season, he just absolutely incredible. He has we keep saying no business. Well, we say he has no business making 8 or 9 saves.
Maybe he does.
Like that game against Chicago that we played with Courtois made like 8 or 9 saves. It's like, holy shit, he's doing that per game.
Yeah.
But listen, I continue to think that it's like this confluence of things where one, Goose is finally actually healthy and recovered from those knee injuries that he had, right?
And the Achilles.
And right, and the Achilles. And 2, that he is being, I think he's actually being not so much like challenged, but I feel like from what I've seen of Cohen and from what I understand of Cohen's strengths as a shot stopper, as a penalty kick specialist, etc., what I'm seeing is like this Goose that's been infused with the essence of this guy that he's like, fighting. And all I keep thinking is, man, if Goose can teach Cohen how to distribute the ball before he retires.
You are not wrong.
We could have like this level, maybe kind of thing. But like Goose has really just for me as somebody that has watched him as long as I have, like even prior to Atlanta United.
Yeah.
Villa.
And Villa. As somebody that played a little bit of goalkeeper, like I think that Goose is great at what Goose does, but Goose didn't have certain aspects of the game that he seems to have found previously. And I think it's not that he necessarily didn't perform at a very high level. It was just in a very different way, even in 2018.
Sure.
Now we got a lot more goals, so he didn't have to be like this level. He wasn't, keeping the team in the game.
It's a very, very different team.
Recovery from injury coupled with that mentality.
Yeah, it's a very, very different team from 18 to now.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
All right, I'm going to take us home with number 4 here.
What do you got?
Another thing that this team is doing differently in addition to the mentality, in addition to better off the ball runs, not having the ball as much. We've talked about this a lot.
It's been a thing.
Doug Robertson has talked about this a lot.
Jennifer has talked about it a lot.
We all have that this team, as currently constructed and led, is a bit better without the ball. Having the ball is hard. Playing Man City ball is hard. Having 60% of the ball means you're kicking this thing around a lot and you need to know what to do with it. Death by 1,000 passes is, in some ways, Pep has kind of, and that style, Pep ball, has kind of ruined football for a lot of teams because everybody thinks they can do it and they can't. And we can't. You've got to be so precise and organized.
Miami can.
They can't. They have that Jedi or Vulcan mind meld. We're doing Star Trek and Star Wars references tonight.
Yeah.
But they have this Vulcan mind meld of players that just understand each other and they can do this. We have struggled with that, and we have struggled with our identity as well. Of who are we? Who are we as a team? Because from day one, we have been branded as and thought of ourselves as, and backed it up with some trophies. Big club mentality. Yeah. We are going to dominate the game, dominate the ball. This is our house. Don't care.
It's definitely who we were.
As the social media admins are fond of saying right now, walk into your trap, own your trap. We have been that team for a long time, and we're not necessarily that anymore. And I think we've been struggling with, okay, so who are we? Are we an underdog? Are we the favorites? And we've just kind of embraced this new version of us. And I think that's what's leading to our success. It's just being comfortable with it.
So can I tell you?
But only in the postseason, because you can't credit that to the rest of the season. I'm sorry, Amy. I'm going to let you make your point. That hasn't been the case so far this season. We're still trying to find our identity. We have found it in the postseason. I cannot give you that same credit to the rest of the season.
No, I'm not saying the rest of the season. I'm saying that it was the struggle in the season. We didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It took us this long. But yeah.
Yeah.
So now I think we know, right? And this is the analogy I will give.
I don't know.
Okay. So because what have we defeated? What we defeated was Tata Ball. All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The possession, all the stuff that we were as a club, that started with Tata,
sure.
right?
Yes.
So what was Tata's biggest nemesis to us? The New York Red Bulls, the team that doesn't want the ball, the pressing, whatever, do this on the counter mentality, okay? It was his Achilles heel. We finally defeated it when we shifted into a defensive mentality, which is the only thing that Miami is not really set up to be able to do, even if Tata had wanted to do that.
Oh, 100%.
And so
I draw a lot of parallels between Miami and us. 2018.
I find it makes me smile inside, and I'm a little bit entertained by the idea that I'm like, channeling the New York Red Bulls that were our
Red Bull.
So we are the Red Bulls.
Embraced our inner Red Bull.
I see. I was starting to follow you before you even made your point. So we are the Red Bulls of 2018 to Atlanta that they were to us.
Miami.
To Miami that they were to us. That is crazy.
And that's how Rob
I love that.
defeated his mentor.
Yeah.
That's how he, did the Mortal Kombat kill on Tata Ball, right?
I kind of love that. Because you're right. I've been drawing a lot of parallels between Miami's current state of ball and 2018, because how can you not? I mean, it just with Tata as the coach in and of itself is the easiest way to draw that parallel. So, I even said that. I said that I mentioned earlier, the guy Tito. He, that's how we used to play, possession based. We're okay with scoring. We're okay with letting the other team score 2 as long as we score 3 or 4. That was us.
What's really crazy is we might be playing the Red Bulls now. There's a possibility.
I know. How funny is that? The original point to the way that you started this in our fourth take was that I still don't really truly think that we found our identity. I am still trying to kind of compartmentalize a little bit, because I'm compartmentalizing to the postseason. I'm still looking at things in a game by game basis. Are we playing well in the moment? Yes, right now we have found something.
Some good form.
Is it something that is going to carry us through the next couple of seasons? I don't know yet. There's no way to know that. We're going to have exchanging of personnel. We're going to have a new coach, theoretically. There are still lots of things that are not going to be as they are now when we start off 2025. So have we found our identity? I don't think so.
Not so much identity, just comfortable with who we are at this particular moment. At this particular moment, we are comfortable with ourselves.
Yes.
As much as I lean into my analogy, right, on the Red Bulls, and I stand by this position.
Yeah.
Sure.
I also saw another thing, though, and if you look at the way that the first 2 goals transpired, as opposed to the couple minute lead up to the third goal, it's 2 very different tactics, right?
Yes.
So the first 2 goals are very much, oh, boom, we haven't had the ball for a while. Suddenly we have it for a second. Key pass.
Capitalize.
Out in the open.
Capitalize. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That direct counterattack. That's the inner Red Bull, right? Coming out.
A little bit, yeah.
But if you look at the third goal, we hold on to the ball. For all that we don't need possession, we hold on to the ball for what felt like a solid 2 minutes leading into the ultimate pass that first went up and down from Schleich and then to Hernandez, and then Hernandez over the head of Saba, and then from Saba, in, sorry, from Amador, Amador in to Schleich. Like we were playing a little bit differently.
It's a hybrid.
It wasn't this direct, right? It was, and in this moment we can possess. We had that one goal, maybe in Montreal, where we had like 45 passes or some just absurd number before we scored. That sequence looked a little bit like that when
it's a hybrid.
I think I saw
That's why I'm saying we look comfortable right now. If we need to be a little more defensive in countering, we will do that. If we need to do a 45 pass sequence, we will do that. Rob isn't married.
And that flexibility is the part that feels
he's flexible because Rob isn't going to put his stamp on this team. He's an interim coach, and he's probably going to end up as an interim coach. This isn't Patrick Vieira, if that ends up who it's being, going to come in and say, this is my identity. Rob has just got us comfortable. It will be interesting to see if we select Rob, what his identity is. He's just got us comfortable right now. And for right now, that's good enough.
What I really like is the ability to embrace things in the moment. That's why I keep using the word compartmentalize, because that's just how I live right now. So being able to be happy and accept things as they are in the moment is the name of our game right now. Something is working. We don't have to name it. We don't have to call it. We don't have to call it Rob Ball.
No.
We don't have to call it Fuck 'em all ball. Call it Adapt Ball.
So that's
Adapt
than Rob Ball.
No.
Come on, that was good. I've been working on that for 10 minutes.
How long have you had that in your pocket? About as long as Dax had Messi.
10 minutes.
Huh? Oh my
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I've been keeping that one in the chamber. It was ready.
Fire away.
I don't really care. Because I don't think whatever we got going right now is necessarily going to be the same thing that we have going for us in 2025. Everything is going to change.
Yeah.
That is so unbelievably true in so many things and so many aspects of life right now. Everything that we know is going to change.
Correct.
So let's just sit back.
Enjoy it.
Let's enjoy what's going on.
Yep.
All of this analyzing that we do, that's what we do. I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off.
Analyzing? Is that what we do on this pod? That's far from analyzing as you can get.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But I think embracing it and being okay with it, and just saying something, whatever the fuck it is working right now. Let's run with it and let's have some fucking fun. Because so often we forget that this is supposed to be fun. And that's what was missing for me for so many months with this team. It just wasn't very much fun. And they didn't look like they were having any fun either.
No, they did not.
And Schleich's face that they kept replaying when he scored, he was having fun. I've never seen the guy have that much fun in his face.
Yeah, and it's also the way he scored, because he knows he's like, oh god, they stopped playing.
Just kind of
he let it be.
Now it's like,
this was Bartow recognizing, oh boy, they stopped playing. I'm gonna go get this thing, and he did.
But and then afterwards, he knew it wasn't gonna get called off. He just was like,
no, he knew.
We just did that.
There's no whistle.
Look at that. Look at that.
There's no
Look
whistle.
at the score.
Yeah.
Look up there. Look at that. That's us.
Mama, I did it.
And he just let himself have it.
Yeah.
So let's have it.
Yep.
It was awesome.
All right. I think that about wraps it up. Mason Mill. We man, see, We were so excited. We got so wrapped up. We forgot to do our traditional in the middle of the pod or a nice little segue from Mason Mill.
We didn't have Jennifer. We didn't have Jennifer pulling us back in.
We didn't have Jennifer.
So
we'll blame her, but we'll thank Mason Mill.
I'm sorry, I failed you.
As always,
not your job.
Mason Mill's been a wonderful partner for us, and they had their 30th anniversary party last Friday. It looked like a good time. From the photos that were posted, they unveiled the new Sherwood Lounge, named after Dr. Sherwood. You know how I have always wanted this in my house, the little hidden doorway thing where you like pull a book or something and a door yes, opens up. They've got that now. There's a bookshelf in their wall, and it's a door that goes into this nice little lounge area that you can wait in, or after you get adjusted, you want to go zone out for a little bit with some ambient music and just chill and always tune out from the world for a little bit. Highly advisable right now.
I was going to say, might have to go experience
you
that
might
myself.
You might want to go get there a little bit. It's great, and they're great, and we love them. And we will not steer you wrong if you're someone that's in need of chiropractic care. Really, everybody should. Go to them before something happens, But if you did throw your back out or something, go.
Yeah, look at it as preventative care,
maintenance.
Not just preventative maintenance.
Practice self-care in all things, y'all. In all things, y'all. Give them a call, 404-321-0082, and Ashley or Rachel set you up with an appointment. They accept most major insurances. They're very good about getting you in at the last minute and schedule changes. Can't say enough about them. And on this 13th, coming up in a few days, Kat and I are going to be there. We're going to help them do a little promo video and sing their praises and thank them in person for all that they have done for us on this pod and our bodies and everybody else. They're wonderful. Go check them out. They're in Decatur, Georgia, open Tuesdays through Saturdays. All right. I think that does it. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to hit on?
Amy, words of wisdom. What do you think? Moving on. What do you got? What do you got going into Orlando?
In 2 weeks.
Because we got to go back into Orlando again.
Is anybody worried about the international break? Jeremiah on Footy Mob is because of rhythm. We are a rhythm team.
Sure,
we're hot right now.
We're very riding
and now we got 2 weeks. Is that a concern?
Yeah. Maybe.
Personally, I think that there's riding the wave and then there's crashing on the shore, right?
Sure.
And we have been riding an extreme high. We're like log fluming up to the top of this like kind of mountainy thing, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like Miami was like that first, downward, hill on the roller coaster, right? Yeah. But we still got a few roller coasters to ride. And so having a little bit of a woo turn in between, to kind of reorient yourself and remember, like, you're strapped in and you can finish this thing out. Gotcha. I don't think is that bad of a thing. Just as, just my personal psychology. I feel like we could have said the same thing about the momentum we were riding into that Friday game that finally crashed, right? And then we got a week off, and that didn't kill the momentum. It refreshed the spirit and got us back on. And so I think this team has kind of shown they can do that.
I like
so for me, I'm trying to have that faith that's kind of where it's going to be.
I don't disagree. I think it's warranted. I think that the rest is necessary. I think that it's warranted. I think that we obviously
and now they
deserved
can
it. We earned it.
Get some satisfaction. Sure. They can actually get a day to just enjoy it before they get back to the grind.
They deserve
which
it.
I think is refreshing because you can tell some of these guys have run themselves literally into the ground.
Oh my gosh, Jamal and Dax into the ground last night.
But I love that though, that at least they were saying, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to put, especially Dax, he said, I'm willing to put everything that I've got, everything that I have left, I'm going to put it out there right now. And Jamal doesn't have the investment into this team and to this league that Dax does, but he was willing to put forth the same amount of effort. And they just said, we're going to leave it all on the fucking line.
Bath and actually
now they get to have a much deserved rest. And I do. Okay. Yeah. They deserve it, man. They deserve it. Okay. I'm willing to separate the entire season from the postseason and say that these guys are playing at a very elite level right now. And, they also deserve to have that rest. So I think it's good. And even if they come back, and I'm just going to keep saying it because that's the mentality we're going into every single game now. Even if we can't pull it out, they deserve everything that they've got.
I like that perspective.
And it's been a fun ride, right? We're all in agreement that this has been a fun ride.
This postseason has been phenomenal.
Great.
I like it.
Really
so
I like that perspective.
We go into
positive.
Orlando getting ready to ride the next part of the roller coaster and refreshed.
Good.
And I'm excited, to see that. I think that we absolutely have every reason to believe that we can go in there again. We can't get cocky, but
cautiously
we have shown that we can, and then we're going to be refreshed. So I'm feeling pretty good about our chances. And if we don't make it, we don't make it. But but it's been a fun ride.
I still think because of the way that we felt the rest of the season, which is, take one game at a time. And if we don't make it, then we don't make it. Mm-hmm. As long as we continue, if we still put forth the amount of heart and the amount of effort that I've seen in the last 5 games, if we put that forth against Orlando and we don't come out on top, I will feel good. I've said that every single game this postseason. If we put the same amount of heart and the same amount of effort that we weren't putting in, I felt throughout the rest of the season, if we put that in to this game and we don't come out on top because we just don't, then that's okay. What was it, Glenn? If we're going to lose
well.
That's right.
All right.
And you know what? Orlando's already scared of us because they had to push our game to Sunday at 3:30 p.m. because they knew if it was on a Saturday that the whole state of Georgia would be traveling down to Orlando.
Right.
Don't let them snatch your joy, 17s. As many of you as can. Get down there. It's at least in the afternoon.
Yep.
There might be a bus.
I'm gonna make every effort to get there myself.
I'm gonna channel my Jennifer.
I do have to work the next day, but I'm going to try.
That would be a good one.
But either way, we'll be back.
It doesn't feel trite anymore that if you were to go and you were to lose, okay.
Yeah.
As long as we play well, look at what we've done.
That's
okay. I think there's something to be said about it. It's okay. We've done what we've look at what we've done.
Ride.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
I'm good.
Yeah. I'm happy no matter for the what ticket happens. That I bought to this amusement park.
That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
Everything from here.
Hey, look, I've got some great new core memories. I'm set. I really am. This is all I've wanted.
It's been so good. And I think that's really it's
brought
really
some joy.
Gonna help us. It's really gonna help us move on.
Yep, totally. All right, that's a positive perspective. Let's end on that. Man, it's been a week, y'all. It's been a week, and appreciate the team playing with heart and determination and passion and bringing us a little bit of joy. It's great, and it's needed. And I hope that everybody else is finding a little bit of joy in their lives as well through this team or through whatever means you can to find joy right now. It's an important thing to do. All right, we're going to be back. I can't believe it.
I can't believe we got another one.
We're actually going to be back.
We're 4 pods deep into this postseason. I can't believe it.
And then probably back again after that. Who knows? You know what?
That's right.
2-1 Atlanta in Orlando.
I love it.
What, did you have other things to do? Come on.
2-1. Atlanta's going to get this.
2-1. Let's go.
Nothing else to do. This is on top of my of my list.
This is all there is.
All right, y'all. It's been fun. It's been a great ride. Thank you for watching and listening and for participating on the FanTV channels and going to Mason Mill and all the things. Make sure you're taking care of each other out there. Be good to each other. It's really important right now. All right, y'all. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. Until then, y'all be good. We will be back.
Meow.